Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to break down a method for turning one of the most dreaded human experiences, yep, criticism, into your single greatest advantage, both personally and professionally.
Oh, those 6 little words, right? Let's be honest. For most of us, hearing that phrase triggers an immediate physical reaction. Your heart just sinks, your palms get a little sweaty, and your brain starts scrambling to build a defense. But what if I told you that mastering your reaction to this one question could literally unlock your potential? Understanding why we feel this dread is the absolute first step.
So let's start right there. Let's diagnose that universal gut punch feeling. It turns out it's not a personal weakness. It's actually a feature of your human hardware. That rush of panic, that defensiveness, that's not a sign that you're insecure. Nope. It's a biological inheritance. The source material calls this an amygdala hijacked. It's your brain's ancient alarm system just going into total overdrive. See, this prehistoric survival program was built for a world where getting kicked out of the tribe meant certain death. And it really can't tell the difference between a saber-toothed tiger and, your boss's opinion on a PowerPoint slide. So in that moment, our brain makes this fascinating and kind of critical error. It's called identity comment conflation. It takes a comment about something you did, like a report with some errors, and it instantly mashes it together with an attack on who you are. It mistakes simple data for a verdict on your entire identity. Well, letting that ancient software run the show, it's not free. It actually comes with 3 pretty steep compounding costs that can quietly sabotage your growth without you even realizing it. The first cost is getting trapped in what we'll call the stunted growth loop. When you get defensive, you reject the very data you need to get better. It's kind of like being blindfolded in a maze and getting mad at the person trying to tell you there's a wall right in front of you. You just end up bumping into the same walls, making the same mistakes, while everyone else is learning the layout. Second, there's the reputation tax. And people are smart about this. If they see you react badly to feedback, they'll just stop giving it to you. Your boss, your team, even your friends, they'll start holding back those honest insights you really need to succeed. And you end up totally isolated in this little bubble of pleasantries, basically flying blind because your co-pilots have stopped warning you about the engine trouble. And maybe the most damaging cost of all is the one that happens inside. Every single time you react poorly, a part of you is watching, and it knows you weren't your best self in that moment. This just chips away at your trust in your own ability to handle tough situations, and it creates this vicious cycle where you dread feedback, not just for what's being said, but because you don't trust how you're going to react. So how in the world do we escape these costs? Well, it takes a pretty profound paradigm shift. We have to completely rewrite our internal definition of what criticism even is. Okay, this is the crucial reframe right here. The old default way of thinking sees feedback as a final grade, a judgment on what you've already done. But the new, upgraded way of thinking, it sees it as directional data for your future. It's not a scarlet letter, it's a signpost. It's not an attack, it's your personal GPS recalculating the best route to success. This mindset puts you in complete control. You stop being the passive victim of criticism and you become the active scientist of your own life. Feedback is just data from your latest experiment. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just information. And your only job is to get curious about what it can teach you. Now, a new mindset is absolutely essential, but let's be real, it's not always enough in the heat of the moment. For that, you need a practical tool, a step-by-step protocol. It's called the A.C.T method. The A.C.T method is a simple but really powerful protocol you can use under pressure. It's just 3 steps. First, you acknowledge to de-escalate, then you contain to analyze, and finally, you translate to grow. So step 1 is to acknowledge. Your only job in the first 60 seconds is to stop that amygdala hijack. Before you say a single word, take a deep, silent breath. Seriously, it's like a neurological intervention that calms your whole body down. Then use a simple, disarming script like, "Thank you for sharing that." It just buys you time, lowers the temperature, and signals that you're secure and coachable. And remember, you're not agreeing with them, you're just receiving the information. Next, you contain the feedback by running it through this mental funnel. First, you consider the source. Who is this coming from? Do they have expertise? What's their intention here? Second, you filter for substance. Look past any emotional delivery to find the core data point. What are they really saying? And third, you assess specificity. Is this just some vague comment, or is there something here you can actually act on?
This whole process turns a messy, emotional comment into clean, organized data. And this brings us to the most powerful step of all: translate. This is where you reframe the criticism from a statement about you into a question for you. You convert a judgment into a challenge. So instead of internalizing, "I'm a terrible communicator," you ask yourself, "Okay, how can I make my message clearer next time?" This moves you out of a passive state of shame and into an active state of problem solving. It's a game changer. But what about feedback that feels completely and totally unfair? Well, the source material suggests applying the 1% rule. Even if you believe the criticism is 99% wrong, you train yourself to find that single 1% kernel of truth. This little habit ensures that no experience, no matter how frustrating, is ever a total loss. You see, mastering this skill isn't just about feeling better in meetings. It's about building a significant, long-term, and, well, a truly unfair advantage in your life and career. Think about it like compound interest, but for your skills. While other people on the defensive path totally plateau, trapped in their growth loops, you are on the coachable path. Every single piece of feedback becomes a small, consistent investment in your development. And over time, all those tiny adjustments, they compound into a massive gap in skill, reputation, and ultimately success. And the ultimate payoff here is a totally different kind of confidence. It's not that fragile confidence that comes from avoiding criticism. No, this is a deep, unshakable confidence that comes from knowing you have a robust system to handle any criticism, no matter how harsh it is. You're no longer afraid of feedback because you know exactly how to use it. So here's the bottom line. Your relationship with feedback determines your growth trajectory. By shifting your mindset and using a simple method, you can transform what feels like a personal threat into the very fuel for your evolution. The question isn't whether you'll get criticism. You will. But what you'll choose to build with it.